once was an old fisherman who lived in a small village by the water. He was a simple man, the kind who, whenever somebody came to him with a problem, would listen carefully and then answer with only 3 or 4 words before returning to whatever he was doing. Yet somehow those few words always seemed to help. Every morning he would take his little fishing boat out onto the lake. He loved fishing, but not simply for fishing's sake. The fish fed his family. Sometimes they fed a neighbour who was in need. Sometimes they found their way into the pots at the little church that helped care for the village. Whenever people asked him how he always seemed able to provide, he would simply shrug and say, "The water provides." Then he would smile and return to his fishing. One calm morning, he sat alone in his little boat, rod in hand, gazing out across the water. The breeze was gentle, the sun was warm. He was perfectly content. He could have sat there for hours. Then something unusual happened. A single frangipani flower drifted past his lure. He watched it float by. A few moments later, another, then another. Soon there were 10, then 20, then 30. The fisherman frowned. This was strange indeed, for he was nowhere near any frangipani trees. He was sitting in the middle of a lake. As he watched, he noticed all the flowers seemed to be coming from the same direction. Far off near the forest stood a lone frangipani tree. The flowers were drifting away from it in such an orderly way that it almost looked as though they were a flock of birds flying across the water. Now, fishermen can be rather superstitious people. The old fisherman scratched his beard. Perhaps that's where the fish are today. So he paddled his boat toward the tree. As he approached, something even stranger occurred. The water began to recede. Not quickly, nor violently, just steadily. The lake seemed to be gently withdrawing from beneath him. Before long, his boat touched the sandy bottom. The fisherman climbed out. He stood there, scratching his head, wondering what to do next. At that very moment, a crab scuttled from nowhere, nipped him sharply on the ankle, then ran sideways toward the forest. The fisherman rubbed his ankle. The crab stopped, looked back, then continued on. "All right then," the fisherman said, and he followed it. The forest was beautiful. At first, sunlight danced through the leaves. Bright tropical plants lined the ground. Colorful birds called out from unseen branches. But the deeper he walked, the thicker the forest became. The light grew dimmer, the sounds grew quieter. Still, the crab led the way. Eventually they arrived at the mouth of a cave. Cool water flowed from its entrance. The fisherman smiled. "Ah," he said, "that's where God was trying to bring me to fish." He picked a comfortable rock beside the water, cast out his line, and waited. Before long, he felt a tremendous tug. A fish. A very large fish, the largest he had ever felt. The line strained, the rod bent, the fish pulled harder, then harder still. Before he could react, the fisherman was dragged straight into the water. He splashed, struggled, and shouted, but the current had already claimed him. Deeper and deeper into the cave he went, around bends and through dark passages, far beyond anywhere he had ever imagined. At last, the current released him onto a small sandbank deep within the cave system. Dazed and soaked, he stood up. "Hello?" he called. "Can anybody hear me?" The only reply was the sudden appearance of dozens of glowing eyes above him. Then, with a great rush of wings, bats took flight and disappeared into the darkness. The fisherman swallowed. "Well," he said quietly, "I suppose that's a no." Looking around, he noticed a faint beam of sunlight shining somewhere deeper within the cave. With nowhere else to go, he followed it. The beam emerged through a crack high above. It illuminated something resting below, something shining, something golden. Treasure. Old treasure. Very old treasure. Enough treasure that a greedy man might spend the rest of his life carrying it away or trying to. The fisherman stood quietly for a moment. Then he reached down and took only 5 gold pieces. 1 for his family, 1 for his neighbor, 3 for his church. No more, no less. The rest he left exactly where it was. Then, returning to the water's edge, he looked at the dark current flowing past. He had no idea where it led. It might carry him home. It might carry him somewhere worse. Perhaps he would never return. The cave was dark. The cave was frightening. And for a brief moment, he wondered if he was making a terrible mistake. Then he placed a hand over his pocket. He felt the 5 coins. He looked upward and said, "God, I trust you. You always help me provide for my people." Then he stepped into the current and laid back, surrendering himself completely to the water. The current carried him swiftly through the darkness. Sometimes the cave ceiling passed only a meter above his face. Sometimes the water rushed so fast his heart hammered in his chest, yet he stayed calm and trusted. After what felt like a very long time, he suddenly saw daylight ahead. Moments later, he burst from the cave behind a waterfall near his village. A waterfall he had visited many times throughout his life. A waterfall behind which he had never suspected an enormous cave system existed. Laughing with relief, he climbed down and returned home. The gold helped repair important parts of the village. His family benefited, his neighbor benefited, the church benefited, and through them many others benefited too. When the villagers heard about the cave, they became very excited. For weeks they searched the forests, they searched the rivers, they searched every hill and every valley. They dreamed of the treasure still hidden inside, but they never found it. The old fisherman simply smiled, for he understood something they did not. The greatest treasure he had brought back from the cave was not the gold in his pocket. It was the lesson carried within his heart, that sometimes when all seems lost and the path ahead cannot be seen, the wisest thing a person can do is trust, surrender, and allow the current to carry them where they need to go. And that lesson proved to be worth more than all the gold hidden beneath the earth. The end.